So, Bill, you've recently invested again in OriginClear.
Correct. Yeah, it'll be the fourth time that I've jumped in. I think the first time was about 4 years ago. Had the wonderful conversation with Mr. Behringer and loved what he had to say then. And it's just been an awesome ride so far and looking forward to the future. That's for sure.
So we should keep Ken, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if nothing else, he's very entertaining. But he's brilliant, right? He's brilliant, and he's got a great way of explaining things. So
no, it's absolutely right. I mean, one of the problems we have in the water industry is really in people understanding, what's going on and what has to be done. And people are like, okay, water is really important, but I don't want to hear about sewage, right? It's like not my topic. But yet, it is a key point of survival for us all. And the problem, as you know, since you started in 2018 with us, we were really trying to chew into how do we move the needle in the water industry. And you went through with us the whole period when we arrived at February 2020 and realized, oh my gosh, the world is changing. As you know, since you were tracking all the time, we started going, well, how do we really make a change? And we realized, it's the money stupid. And that we had to do something about the capital, infusing capital into the projects to speed them up. And also, this is a new segment, a new business called private water utilities. We're not the only ones. There's other players in private water utilities, that we know are very good competitors, in fact. But we're unique in a few very important ways. The first most important way is that ordinary investors like you can invest in this, whereas companies like Cambrian or Seven Seas deal with very high-end, private equity funds and so forth, all the insiders. And the other thing is that we position as a pure finance play. We don't want to build every machine. We want to delegate the building and the maintaining of the machines, which makes us scalable. The more we can make this a pure fintech play. Now, how about more finance hubs? Because, from Clearwater, Florida, we can finance projects in the US, but we're not going to finance them in the UAE. So how about a water demand financing center in Dubai with a partner there, et cetera? And we kind of spread the gospel, so to speak, about, this new way of business industrial users taking their own fate in their own hands and profiting financially from it by recycling, et cetera, but also returning royalties to end users. And for the first time, creating this commodity, right? Isn't it weird that water was never an investable commodity directly?
Right.
You had to buy municipal bonds, you had to buy shares of Veolia, you had to buy an exchange traded fund. And now I assume you invested in the Series Y, which is, putting your principal. So 50% of what you invested is now capitalized, and the other 50% act as an advance to the company, for which we gave up enough profit share for you to make the 25% net profit overall. And now you have a nice position. And now you may have heard that we're spinning off Water Demand.
Right. Yeah, it's exciting times.
Let me ask you, what kind of investor are you? What are your, just in general, how do you weight your investments?
I'm pretty heavily into real estate. And I would say that's the lion's share of my investments. So I have a number of different residential rental units. And then the rest is more stocks, right? And so some of it is exciting plays such as the OriginClear, where the potential is huge, and some of it's a little more boring, where we look at Canadian bank stock, right? So it's a pretty stable market.
You got to balance out your portfolio. Do you see that? What I like about this is you are what I would call a rational investor. You're anchored in asset-based investment. That's most of what you've got, I think, right? And I think the world is moving towards from a currency-based finance to a commodity-based finance world. I was talking to Business Insider the other day, and I said, look, there's going to be, if not officially, the world is going to run with a sort of a basket of commodities. It's going to be kind of the new way of pricing things, is how much does lumber cost and how much does this and that cost. Looking at I just saw the inflation rate in Germany, which skyrocketed. It had not been this high since 1949. There's a lot of countries in deep trouble, but we can find at least a solid value in a commodity, a thing. I think we're blessed that we're in an asset game. What's interesting is to watch my division in McKinney, Texas. They're actually getting bombarded with business because so many business users are realizing there's a use it or lose it, right? It's never going to be this cost again. You know, I bought a Tesla the other day, like, well, I don't really need one, but it's 2.75%. So what the heck, you know?
Yeah.
I'll have a Tesla still, and I won't get 2.75% again. No. So,
right. Well, it's even here. Our real estate market is just absolutely insane, right? It seems like daily the prices are jumping up, and so it's like, is it a good time to get out? But then get back into what?
Where do you go? Where do you go?
Exactly.
I'm really honored that you've chosen OriginClear 4 times. And it's a credit to your perceptions that you understood it, because we think we have a pretty good thing, and the whole challenge is how to communicate it.
We're excited about the whole water industry. When I look at what's happening within OriginClear, I'm hoping that it busts north, because we got lots of water issues up here as well. We've got Indigenous communities that have to truck in potable water. We have a small community in Saskatchewan in the province where they turn on the taps and it's coming out orange. Like, come on. We're supposedly a developed nation, and we have the same problems as what you have south, right? So end goal, I'm hoping that it's coming north of the 49.
Well, in earlier times, somebody would say something like that. I go, well, I can't get to that anytime soon. But with a pure finance approach, we can then have it's much easier to raise money than it is to build things, frankly.
Right.
And so then, have the money and go, okay, a regional partner in Saskatchewan, get the project going, and before you know it, it's done. So that's where we can really deploy our reach and using this model. Obviously, we're going to have to be very sharp at, somebody was pointing out to me how much software we have to invest in, for example, but process and contract management and this and that. But I love it. I'm excited, and I'm so happy you're on board.
Absolutely. Well, like the old adage says, a man who never took a chance never had a chance.
You got to be in it to win it. I love it.
Absolutely.